Good day. I am John Kenneth M. Maraman, and the topic for today is about the Module 4. What is institutional based correction? The difference is the community based corrections are either placed on a parole or given approbation, and institutional based corrections means that the individuals is placed in a prison or a jail, which means they are housed in a secure correctional facility. What are the institutional corrections in the Philippines? There are units and there are seven institutional corrections in the Philippines named the Correctional Institution for Women or CIW, and it is located in Mandaluyong, and the CIW Mindanao in Santo Tomas, Davao del Norte, and the New Bilibid Prison in Muntinlupa, and the Sablayan Prison and Penal Farm in Occidental Mindoro, and also the Iwahig Prison and Penal Farm in Puerto Princesa City, Palawan, and the last is Leyte Regional Prison in Abuyog, Leyte. What are the five major goals of institutional correction? Usually, there are five major goals of correction systems and it is distinguished by retribution, incapacitation, rehabilitation, deterrence, and restoration. What are the functions of institutional corrections? The functions of corrections are to provide control, custody, and care to any person convicted of a criminal offense. Providing control for a correctional client is twofold. The first thing that needs to be addressed is the correctional employee. These employees work in any governmental jurisdiction in the country. The corrections explosion while serious crime in the United States consistently declined through much of the 1990s, and while such declines continued into the early years of the 21st century. The number of people under correctional supervision in this country, not just the number of convicted offenders sent to prison, and has continued to climb over 102. The three, the correctional explosion causative factors get tough on crime laws. Three strikes, two strikes, zero tolerance, the war on drugs. Parole authorities fear of civil liability and public outcry, the growth of dynamic of the corrections boom. 4. The current trends. The current rate of imprisonment is over 500 per 100 persons with no sign of declining. 5. Correctional clients, prison inmates, probationers, parolees, offenders assigned to alternative sentencing programs, offenders held in jails 1 to 5. 6. Careers in corrections growing correctional populations have led to an expanding workforce. Uniformed officers in prisons alone estimated at more than 215,000, including juvenile detention, probation, parole, administrators, jail personnel, and other boosts that number to nearly 750,000 nationwide. There are types of crimes. First is the felony. A serious crime is offense, specifically one punishable by death or by incarceration in a prison facility for more than a year. Next is misdemeanor, a relatively minor violation of the criminal law such as petty theft or simple assault. It is punishable by confinement for 1 year or less. Infraction, a minor violation of a statute or a local ordinance punishable by a fine or other penalty other than incarceration or by a specified, usually very short term of incarceration. The other types of crimes, which is the violent crime. Violent crime is interpersonal crime that involves the use of force by offenders or results in injury or death to victims. Example of these are murder, rape, or robbery. The property crime, burglary, larceny, automobile theft, and arson as reported by the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Uniform Crime Reporting Program. 9. Measuring and reporting crime. The FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting or UCR program, Bureau of Justice Statistics National Crime Victimization Survey or NCVS. This can aid in projecting the need for detention and rehabilitation services and facilities. Criminal justice. As process, the process of achieving justice through the application of criminal law and through the workings of the criminal justice system. Also the study of the field of criminal justice. A system, the collective agencies that perform criminal justice operations, administration, and technical support and functions. The basic divisions include police, courts and corrections. Entering the system, which is arraignment. An arraignment is an appearance of in a court prior to trial and a criminal proceeding. Next is preliminary hearing, a pretrial hearing that may follow arraignment to determine whether there is a probable cause to believe that the accused committed a crime within the jurisdiction of the court. Next is judicial procedures null prosec. A prosecutor's action to drop criminal charges after a charge have been filed. When the action is taken, a case is said to be null or nulled. Nolo contendere to accept the penalty without admitting a guilt. The judge may accept or reject the plea. Adjudication, the process by which a court arrives at a final decision in a case. Sentencing options. It may include death, incarceration, probation, fines, restoration, and community service. The Correctional Subsystem Situational Corrections report by the Bureau of Justice Statistics or BGS says it is the aspect of the correctional enterprise that involves the confinement and rehabilitation of adults and juveniles convicted of offenses against the law, the confinement of a person suspected of a crime awaiting trial and adjudication. The Correctional Subsystem Institutional Corrections says that the aspect of correctional enterprise that involves the confinement and rehabilitation of adults and juveniles convicted of offenses against the law and the confinement of persons suspected of a crime awaiting trial and adjudication. Corrections. All the various aspects of the pre-trial and post-conviction management of individuals accused or convicted of a crimes. This definition is convenient for discussion purposes but also encompasses the 14 elements listed in the text. 17. Corrections define mores, correctional restrictions on behavior that forbid serious violations of a group's values. Folkways, time-honored by ways of doing things. Although they carry the force of a tradition, their violation is unlikely to threaten a social group's survival or criminal law the body of rules that define public offenses. Professionalism. Profession. An occupation granted high social status by virtue of the personal integrity of its members. Corrections professional. A dedicated person of a high moral character and a personal integrity who is employed in the field of corrections and takes a professionalism to a heart. Certification. A credentialing process usually involving testing and career development assessment through which the skills, knowledge, and the abilities of correctional personnel can be formally recognized. What are the core traits? Expanded on the text that these four traits have been identified as essential to effective work and corrections. Accountability, strong writing skills, effective presentation skills, a logical mind, and the ability to solve problems. Training virtually every state now requires at least 120 hours of pre-service training for correction officers and 40 hours on in-service training. Specified basic administrative policies support the requirements for training programs. Standard setting organizations. American Correctional Association or ACA or American Probation and Parole Association or APPA, American Jail Association or AJA. Credentialing. The ACA's program for certifying officers is part of a process called credentialing. Discussed in detail in Chapter 13, ACA's accreditation program certifies facilities or programs quality through meeting industry set standards. Evidence-based corrections. The application of social scientific techniques to corrections focuses what works. The evidence is evidence of a program working, not criminal evidence as contrasted with opinion-based policy. Social diversity and corrections. The race, racism, ethnicity, and gender. How these aspects of social diversity impact the field, its personal, clients, and issues. Structure. A structure is an arrangement and organization of interrelated elements in a material object or system, or the object or systems are organized. Material structures include man-made objects such as buildings and machines and natural objects such as biological organisms, minerals, and chemicals. The management. Management is the coordination and administration of tasks to achieve a goal. Such administration activities include setting the organization's strategy and coordinating the efforts of staff to accomplish this objective through the application of available resources. Two system-based approaches to corrections. The Philippine prison system adopted a two approaches of treatment of offenders. These are the institutional-based treatment program and the community-based treatment programs. These programs aim towards the improvement of offenders' attitude and philosophy of life. Institutional-based treatment programs. It is the process of result of formal training in school or classrooms intended to shape the mind and attitude of prisoners towards a good living upon their release. General and academic education, the objective of which is to eradicate illiteracy among prisoners. Community-based treatment programs. The community-based treatment refers to a specific integrated model of treatment for people affected by drug use and dependence in the community, which provides a continuum of care from outreach and low-threshold services to through detoxification and stabilization to aftercare and integration, including a maintenance. The custody. It is the state of physically holding or controlling a person or a piece of property or having the right to do so. A person who has a custody over property or another person often has affirmative duties to protect and care for those in their charge. In the law, custody is used in criminal and family law. Security and controls of prisoners. Prison security is crucial to maintaining staff and inmate safety in correctional setting. Security in prisons includes, but it is not limited to, managing restrictive housing populations, classification and assessment, managing special populations, and security audits. What is Inmates Custody Security and Control Program? The BGMP is mandated to direct, supervise, and control the administration and operation of all district, city, and municipal jails nationwide with pronged task of safekeeping and development of inmates. The care and treatment of prisoners. All prisoners shall be treated with the respect due to their inherent dignity and value as human beings. There shall be no discrimination on the grounds of race, color, and sex, language or religion, political or other opinion, the national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. The basic idea of treatment is to help the criminals enhance their ability to help themselves. They focus on specific types of offenders such as sex offenders, violent offenders, and drug addicts. Now, most people believe some treatment programs will help some offenders to prevent recidivism to some extent. The release of prisoners. Remission. It is the complete ending of sentence and reduced point. If you are in prison and part of your sentence is remitted, you are prior to the completion of the full term of your sentence, released into the community without any further supervision or restrictions. For example of this is, if you have been sentenced to 8 years imprisonment, you may be released after 6 years. The remaining 2 years of your sentence are remitted. Republic Act 9263. It is an act or providing for the professionalization of the Bureau of the Fire Protection of BFP and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology of BGMP, amending certain provisions of Republic Act 9 to number 6975, providing funds and thereof and of others purposes. Then the section 1 is the title. This act shall be known as the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology for, for Professionalization Act of 2004. Section 2. Declaration of Policy and Principles. It is declared policy of the state to maintain peace and order, protect life, liberty, and property, and promote the general welfare essential for the enjoyment by all the people of the blessings of democracy. Article 2, Section 5 of the Philippine Constitution. Moreover, it recognizes the responsibility of the state and to strengthen government capability, aim towards the strengthening of the delivery of basic services to the citizenry through the institutionalization and highly efficient and competent fire and jail services. It is provided for under Republic Act No. 6975, otherwise known as the Department of the Interior and Local Government Act of 1990. The task of fire protection in jail management and penology shall be the responsibility of the Bureau of Fire Protection of the BFP and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology or BGMP respectively. Moreover, The Section 3 of the Republic Act No. 8551, otherwise known as the Philippine National Police Reform and Reorganization Act of 1998, provides that the times of national emergency, BFP and the BJP, along with the Philippine National Police of PNP, shall, upon the direction of the President, assist the armed forces of the Philippines or the AFP in the meeting of the national emergency in addition to the performance of their inherent functions as mandated by law. It is therefore recognized that the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BJMPs as members of the uniformed services of the government under Department of the Interior and local government of the ILG are required that the same amount of sacrifice, service, and dedication like their counterparts in the PNP and the AFP to carry out their respective duties to the extent of risking their lives and limbs. Toward this, and the state shall provide the professionalization and restructuring the BFP and the BGMP by upgrading the level of qualifications of their uniform personnel and standardizing their base pay, retirement, and other benefits, making it at par in those of the PNP and the AFP. The Section 3 organization and the key positions of the BFP and the BGMP. The BFP and the BJMP shall be respectively headed by the chief, who shall be assisted by two deputy chiefs. One is for the administration and one for operations. All of whom shall be appointed by the President upon recommendations of the Secretary of the DLG from among the qualified officers with at least the rank of senior superintendent in the service, provided that in no case shall be any officer has retired or is retirable within 6 months from his or her compulsory retirement. Age appointed as Chief of the Fire Bureau of Chief in the Jail Bureau of the case may be. Provided further that the Chief of the Fire Bureau and Chief of the Jail Bureau shall serve a tour of duty not exceed 4 years. Provided, however, that the times of war or other national emergency declared by Congress, the President may extend such tour of duty. The heads of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of Director shall have the position title of Chief of the Fire Bureau and the Chief of the Jail Bureau. Respectively, the second officers in command of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of Chief Superintendent shall have the position of the title of Deputy Chief for administration of the Jail Bureau respectively. The third officer in command of the BFP and the BGMP, the rank of Chief Superintendent, shall have the position of the title of Deputy Chief for Operation and Fire Bureau and Deputy Chief for Operation of the Jail Bureau. The fourth officers in command of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of Chief Superintendent shall have the respective position the title of Chief of Directorial Staff of the Fire Bureau and the Chief of Directorial Staff of the Jail Bureau. The BFP and the shall establish, operate, and maintain their respective regional offices in each of the administrative regions of the country, which shall be respectively headed by a regional director for fire protection, and a regional director of jail management and penology with the rank of senior superintendent. Section 4. The professionalization and upgrading and qualification standards in the appointment of uniformed personnel to the BFP and the BGMP. No person shall be appointed as uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP unless he or she possesses the following minimum qualifications: a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines, a person of good moral character, must have passed the psychiatric and psychological, drug and physical tests for the purpose of determining his or her physical and mental health, must possess a baccalaureate degree from recognized institution of learning, must possess the appropriate civil service eligibility, must not have been dishonorably discharged or dismissal for cause from previous employment, must not have been convicted by final judgment or of an offense of a crime involving moral turpitude, must be at least 1 meter and 62 centimeters or 1.62 in height for male and 1 meter and 57 centimeters for female, provided that a waiver for height and age requirements shall be automatically granted for applicants belonging to the cultural communities, and must weigh not more or less than 5 kilograms from the standard weight corresponding to his or her height and sex, provided that a new applicant must be less than 21 nor more than 30 years of age. Except for this particular provision, the above enumerated qualifications shall be continuing in character and the absence of any one of them at any given time shall be ground for separation or retirement from the service, provided further that the uniformed personnel who already in the service upon effectively this act shall be given 5 years to obtain the minimum educational qualification and 1 year to satisfy the weight requirement. Section 5. Appointment of uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP. The appointment of the BFP and the BGMP shall be effected in the following manners. Fire, Fire and Jail Officer 1 to Senior Officer Jail Officer 4, appointed by the respective Regional Director for Fire Protection and Regional Director for Jail Management and Penology. For the Regional Office, uniformed personnel are the by respective Chief of the Fire Bureau and the Chief of the Jail Bureau for the National Headquarters Office, uniformed personnel and attested by the Civil Service Commission. Fire Jail Inspector to Fire Jail Superintendent, appointed by the respective Chief of the Fire Bureau and the Chief of Jail Bureau, as recommended by their immediate superiors and attested by the CSC. Fire Jail Superintendent, appointed by the Secretary of the DLG, upon recommendation of the respective Chief of the Fire Bureau and the Chief of Jail Bureau, which the proper attestation of the CAC, and Fire Jail Chief Superintendent to Fire Jail Director appointed by the President upon recommendation of the Secretary of the DLG with the proper endorsement of the Chairman of the CAC. Section 5. Lateral entry or an officer into the BFP and the BGMP. In general, all original appointments of the officers in the Fire Bureau and Jail Bureau shall commence the rank of Fire Jail Inspector. When they earn the applicants of the lateral entry into the BFP shall include all those with highly specialized and technical qualifications such as, but not limited to the civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, chemical engineers, chemists, architects, criminologists, certified public accountants, nurses, physical therapists, and dentists, while applicants for lateral entry into the BGMP shall include all those with highly specialized and technical qualifications such as, but not limited to social workers, psychologists, teachers, nurses, scientists, and engineers. Doctor of Medicine, members of the Philippine Bar and chaplains shall be appointed with the rank Fire Judge Senior Inspector in their particular technical service. Graduate of the Philippine National Police Academy or PNP shall be automatically appointed with the initial rank of Fire Judge Inspector. Section 7. Professionalization and Upgrading. Section 7. Professionalization and upgrading of qualification standards in the designation of the four personnel of the BFP and the BGMP to the key positions. A. No person shall be designated to the following key positions of the BFP and the BGMP unless he/she has met the qualifications provided therein. 1. Municipal Fire Marshal should have the rank of the Senior Inspector, who must have finished at least second year Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 12 units in a master's degree program in public administration, management and engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related discipline from recognized institution of learning. It must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training of courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. The sitting fire marshal should the rank of senior inspector, who must have finished at least second year of Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 24 units in the master's degree program in the public administration, management engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related disciplines from a recognized institution of learning. It must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career courses such as position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. 3. District Fire Marshal, provided Provincial Fire Marshal, Assistant Regional Director for the Administration, Assistant Regional Director for Operations, and Regional Chief of Directoral Staff should have the rank of superintendent, who must be a graduate of Bachelor of Laws or a holder of master's degree in public administration, management engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related disciplines from recognized institution of learning. It must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. 4. District Fire Marshal for the National Capital Region, Regional Director for Fire Protection and Director of Directorate of the National Headquarters Office. Should have at least the rank of Senior Superintendent who must be a graduate of Bachelor's of Laws or a holder of Master's degree in Public Administration, Management, Engineering, Public Safety, Technology, or other related disciplines from a recognized institution of learning. 5. Deputy Chief or for Administration for the Fire Bureau. Deputy Chief of Operations of the Fire Bureau and the Chief Directorial Staff of the Fire Bureau shall have the rank of Superintendent, and who must be a member of Philippine Bar or a holder of Master's degree in Public Administration, Management, Engineering, Public Safety, Criminology, or other related disciplines from a recognized institution of learning and must have satisfactory pass the necessary training or career courses such as may be established by the Fire Bureau. 6. Chief of the Fire Bureau should have the rank of Director who must be a member of the Philippine Bar or holder of a master's degree in Public Administration, Management, Engineering, Public Safety, Criminology, or other related discipline from a recognized institution of learning and must satisfactorily pass the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. No person shall be designated to the following key positions of the BGMP unless he/she has met the qualification provided therein. Municipal Jail Warden should have the rank of the Chief Inspector who have finished at least second year Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 12 units in a master's degree in program in management public administration, public safety, criminology, phenology, sociology, and national security administration, defense studies or other related disciplines from a recognized institution, learning and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career courses for such position and may be established by the Fire Bureau. City Jail Warden shall have the rank of the Chief Inspector, who must have finished at least second year Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 24 units in a master's degree. District Jail Warden of Provincial Jail Administrator, Assistant Regional Director for Administration, Assistant Regional Director for Operations, and Regional Chief of Director Staff shall have the rank of Senior Superintendent, who must be a graduate of Bachelor of Laws or a holder of Master's degree in Management, Public Administration, degree in Management, Public Safety, Criminology, Phenology, Sociology, and National Security. Deputy Chief for Administration of the Jail Bureau, Deputy Chief for Operations for the Jail Bureau, and the Chief of the Directorial Staff of the Jail Bureau shall have the rank of Senior Superintendent, and who must a member of Philippine Bar or a holder of Master's degree in Management, Public Administration, Public Safety, Criminology, Phenology, and Sociology. Chief of the Jail Bureau shall have the rank of Director, who must be a member of the Philippine Bar or a holder of Master's degree in Management, Public Administration, Public Safety, Criminology, Phenology, Sociology, National Security Administration, Defense Studies, or other related discipline or recognized institution of learning and must have satisfactory pass the necessary training of career courses for such position, as may be established by the Jail Bureau. Any uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP is currently occupying such position but lacks any of the qualifications mentioned therein shall be given 3 years upon effectively of this act to comply with the requirements. Otherwise, he/she will be relieved from the position. Section 8. Professionalization and Qualification and Upgrading Program. The ALG shall design and establish a professionalization and qualifications upgrading program for uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP, in coordination with the CEC and the Commission of Higher Education at CHED through the off-campus education program or other similar programs within 90 days from the effectivity of this act. Section 9. Alteration system for the uniform personnel of the BFP and the BJP. There shall be established a system of alteration for the uniform personnel of the BFP and the BJP within 1 year from the effective date of this act to be submitted by said bureaus of the DLG for approval. Such alteration system shall include, but is not limited to, the provisions of the following of principles. Alteration by demotion, imposition, or rank. Any uniform personnel of the BFP and the BJP who is relieved and assigned to a position lower than is established for his or her grade in the respective staffing pattern of the 5 bureau and the jail bureau. The who shall not be assigned to a position commensurate to his or her grade with 2 years after such demotion or imposition shall be separated or retired from the service. Attrition by non-promotion. Any uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP who has not been promoted for a continuous period of 10 years shall be separated or retired from the service except for those who are occupying a third level positions. Attrition by other means. Any uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP at least 5 years of accumulated active service shall be separated from the service based on the following factors. 1. Inefficiency based on poor performance during the last two successive semester ratings period. 2. Inefficiency based on poor performance for three cumulative semester training period. 3. Physical and or mental incapacity to perform his or her duties and functions. 4. Failure to complete the required courses and or appropriate civil service eligibility for his or her position except for his justifiable. And D. Separation of retirement from the Fire Bureau and the Jail Bureau under this section. Any personnel who is dismissed from the BFP and the BGMP pursuant to the above enumerated principles in this section shall be separated if he or she has rendered less than 20 years of service and be retired if he or she has rendered at least 20 years of service unless concerned personnel is disqualified by law of receive such benefits. Section 10. Promotion system for the uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP. Within 6 months after the effectivity of this act, the DLG shall establish a system of promotion for the uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP through the following principles. Rationalized promotion system. The system of promotion shall be based on merits and the availability of vacant ranks in the BFP and the BGMP. Staffing the pattern of such system shall be gender fair so as to ensure that women personnel of the Fire Bureau and the Jail Bureau shall enjoy equal opportunity to promotion as to the men. Rationalization, rationalized promotion system. This system is promotion shall be based on merits and the unavailability of vacant ranks in the BFP and the BGMP staffing pattern. Such system shall be gender fair to ensure that women personnel of the Bureau and the Jail Bureau shall enjoy equal opportunity of promotion as to the men. Requirement for promotion. Any personnel of the BFP and the BGMP shall not eligible for promotion to the higher rank unless he has met the minimum qualification standards for the appropriate civil service eligibility set by the CEC and has the satisfactorily passed the required psychiatric and psychological drug and physical tests. Any personnel of the BFP and the BGMP who has exhibited act of conspicuous courage and gallantry at the risk of his or her life above and beyond the call of duty are selected as such in a nationwide search conducted by any accredited civic organization shall be promoted to the next higher rank, provided that this shall be validated by the DLG and the CSC based on the established criteria. Section 11. Performance and the evaluation system. There shall be established a performance evaluation system which shall be administered with accordance with the rules, regulations, and the standards in the Code of Conduct for the uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP to be promulgated by the Fire Bureau and the Jail Bureau through the ALG. Such performance evaluation system shall be administered in such way as to foster the improvement of individual efficiency and behavioral discipline as well as the promotion of organizational effectiveness and commitment to the service. The rating system is contemplated herein shall be based on the standard prescribed by the Fire Bureau and the Jail Bureau through the DLG and shall be considered the result of the annual psychiatric, psychological, and physical tests conducted in the uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP. Section 12. standardization of the base pay, retirement, and other benefits of the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP. In order to enhance the general welfare, commitment to service and professionalism of the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP. There shall receive the minimum starting salary equivalent to the salary grade level of the corresponding rank classification or counterparts in the PNP, as provided under the Section 36 of Republic Act Number 8551 of AFP has provided under Section 2 of the Republic Act Number 9166. Section 13. The implementation. The implementation of this act shall be undertaken in staggered basis but not exceed 3 years, taking into consideration the financial position of the national government, provided that any partial implementation shall be uniform and proportionate for all ranks. Section 14. Implementation rules and regulations. The ALG in coordination with the BFP in the BGMP in the CEC Department of Budget and Management or DBM and the Department of Finance DOF shall within 90 days from the effectivity of this act promulgate the rules and regulations necessary to implement the provision of this act. Annual report. The BFP and the BGMP to the DLG and the DBM shall jointly submit to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives an annual report on the implementation of this act. This report shall include the information of the application of the budget with the salary and the benefits provided under this act. The DBM is in consultation with the BFP and the BGMP, though the DLG shall periodically review and adjust every 5 years the rates of base pay, taking into consideration labor and productivity, consumer price index, oil price, and other similar economic indicators as may be determined by the National Economic and Development Authority (NEDA). Section 16. Separability clause. If any proportion of provision in this act is declared unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the ability and effectivity of the other provisions not affected by thereby. Section 17. Repealing clause. All laws, decrees, orders, rules, and regulations and their issuance are parts of thereof which are inconsistent with the provision of this act are hereby deemed repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. Section 18. Effectivity. This act shall be take effect 15 days after in complete publication in the official gazette or in at least two newspapers of general circulation, whichever comes earlier. BGMP RA 6975. Republic Act Number 6975 established by the Philippine National Police PNP under the Reorganized Department of the Interior and the Local Government. This law stated that PNP is supposed to have a maritime police unit to observe the police functions of the Coast Guard and to be provided with the sea capabilities. The original rehabilitation of centers for youth. The RRCY of this facility designed to provide intensive treatment in residential setting for the rehabilitation of CICL whose sentences have been suspended. It served as a nurturing out-of-home replacement for the children in need of rehabilitation. While the RRCY provides institutional rehabilitation for CICL, community-based rehabilitation programs are also being provided by the DSWD. Whenever necessary, the RRCY links its center-based services to community-based programs or the programs provided in a community setting developed for the purpose of intervention and diversion from formal court proceedings as well as rehabilitation of any CICL for the final reintegration into his family and community. The support and participation of the immediate family and the community is valuable. Hence, RRCY harness the community support structures outside of the family. The community structures are tapped and mobilized to contribute their resources to the treatment and reintegration of the offenders and strengthening their families. General objective: to render treatment and rehabilitative services to children can conflict within the law. CICL in the Cordillera Administrative Region or CAR to enhance their psychological, emotional, and psychosocial well-being. The specific objectives: assist the CICL and gaining insights into the behavior and attitudes to help them become more productive and responsible individuals. Redirect their behavior and attitudes to help them become more proactive and responsible individuals. Provide opportunities to acquire social occupational skills and to improve self-image, provided for activities that would help them develop trust for other persons. Remission does not apply to prisoners who are serving a life sentence as see parole or below, or those who are imprisoned as death or because of the contempt of a court. Standard remission. Standard remission allows you to shorten the length of your sentence by up one quarter in most cases. Standard remission is applied automatically provided you do not commit an offense in a custody. For example, if you are sentenced to 4 years imprisonment, you may be released after 3 years with the final quarter of your sentence remitted. Temporary release. Temporary release means that you are released from a prison for a specified period of time for a specific purpose or reason. The Criminal Justice Act of 1960 allows the Minister of Justice to grant temporary release of prisoners at any time before they qualify for standard remission or to life sentence prisoners who are not entitled in standard remission. Enhanced remission. On application, the Minister of Justice can grant enhanced remission of up one-third of your sentence. For example, if you are sentenced to 3 years imprisonment and you are granted enhanced remission of one-third of your sentence, you will be released after 2 years. To be eligible for enhanced remission, you must be able to demonstrate good conduct while engaging in authorized structured activities, and the minister must be satisfied that the result you are unlikely to reoffend and are able to reintegrate into the community upon release. There are three general kinds of temporary release. One is compassionate grounds. In most cases, release on compassionate grounds is granted if there is a family emergency, such as death or serious illness. You may be also be released if to visit family at Christmas or to attend special family occasions such as christenings or communions. Day-to-day release. And recognition of consistently good behavior in custody and willingness to engage in structured rehabilitative activities, you may be granted day-to-day release for to participate in work or trainings outside the prison during the day before returning to custody in the evening. You may also be provided with day release to engage in the building of family relationships as you near the end of your sentence. 3. Default temporary release. If you have been progressing well on day-to-day temporary release and have demonstrated a capacity to reintegrate in the community, the Minister of Justice may grant you full temporary release. In practice, the provision ends the custodial portion of your sentence unless you are recalled to prison for any reason. In probation service, in most cases, provides temporary release is facilitated through the probation of service, an organization that supervises and supports offenders in reintegrating into the community. On arrival in prison, you will be advised the availability of the probation service. An officer may be assigned to work with you to address your offending behavior. Read more about work of the probation services in prisons. For example, the probation service works with the prison service to facilitate the community return program. An incentivized scheme for the supervised release of prisoners serving sentences of between 1 to 8 years who complete unpaid community work and as condition of their release. Similarly, prisoners given short-term sentences from 3 to 12 months may be considered for supervised temporary release under the community support scheme. Parole. If you are serving a life sentence for a long-term sentence for of 8 or more years, you may be released from prison primarily on parole if you make an application to the parole board. Parole is a form of conditional release, usually for longer term prisoners. If you are released on parole, your sentence is not over. Conditions are imposed in the parole order and continue to apply for the remaining time of your court-imposed sentence. For life, in the case of life sentence offenders, breach of a condition can result if you are being recalled to prison. Good conduct time allowance. What is time? What is good conduct time allowance? Good conduct time allowance or GCTA is sentence reduction provision afforded prisoners who show good behavior. It has been in existence since 1906. It is an Act 1533 provided for the diminution of sentences imposed upon prisoners in consideration of good conduct and diligence. Emergency plan. An emergency plan is specifies procedures of handling sudden or unexpected situations. The objective is to prepare to prevent fatalities and injuries to reduce damage to buildings, stock, and equipment. The death row. The death row, also known as condemned row, is a place in prison that has inmates awaiting execution after being convicted of a capital crime and sentenced to death. Capital punishment, also known as the death penalty, is a state-sanctioned practice of killing a person as a punishment for a crime. The sentence ordering that offender is to be punished in such manner is known as death sentence. In the act of carrying out the sentence is known as an act of execution. The role of a writ of amparo. The petition of a writ of amparo is immediately available to any person whose right to life, liberty, and security is violated or threatened with violation by an unlawful act or omission of public official or employee, or of a private individual or entity. Why is writ amparo is important? The writ is amparo is a legal procedure to protect human rights. Under this new legal remedy, the state authorities can no longer use as defense that they do not know where the missing persons are. The invention of amparo, a Spanish law or preliminary certificate issued to a claimant of land as protection for the claim until the survey can be had and full title vested. Spanish law proceeding analogous to habeas corpus. The Child and Welfare Code. The Presidential Decree Number 603, otherwise known as the Child and Youth Welfare Code, is issued in December 1974, legally defines special categories of youth, including youthful offenders, and directs the Ministry of Social Services and Development of MSSD to provide comprehensive services to assist in youth development. Privileges of detainees and sentenced prisoners' rights. Discipline and security are principal concerns in jails and prisons in the United States. As such, some rights and granted for the free citizens are limited or denied to prisoners. Freedom of speech is usually limited, as are the rights of counsel and to the accused and self and infractions and crimes committed in a prison or jail are being investigated. Prisoner privileges. Rights are granted to all prisoners, but access to many prison privileges is based on the behavior. Inmates with a history or infractions may be confined to their cells for a longer period of time during the day, or they may be forced to wear prison uniforms while other inmates can either wear their own clothes. Other common privileges include access to entertainment, work, and money. Many prisons have televisions in common areas, but some inmates may have one on their cells to the pastime. Depending on the status of their imprisonment, they may also be allowed to work. Generally, prisoners cannot be choose their assignments for refuse on assignment, and the wages that they earn for work are well below the minimum wage. Most work occurs in a prison or jail, though some inmates may be granted work release, which allows them to do work such as trash collection outside the facility. Other common privileges as access to personal money that can be used to purchase items from prison commissaries such as cigarettes. Marks up as commissary items are usually significant, and this privilege is often one of the first of the revoke of the behavior infractions.